Talk about something kind of weird. What if the one thing you're convinced is the key to your success, your insane work ethic, is actually the very thing setting you up to fail? Today, we're going to dig into that paradox, one that messes with some of the smartest people out there, especially in fields like medicine. So, let me paint a picture for you. You just pulled a marathon study session, maybe 14 hours yesterday. Sound about right? You've poured absolutely everything into your books because you believe that more hours equals better results. And then what happens? You wake up the next morning and instead of feeling ready to go, you're just completely exhausted. But you probably don't even think about it, right? You just grab that textbook again because the pressure, the grind, it never, ever stops. But here's the thing, and this is the part nobody really wants to admit. This whole cycle, this thing we wear like a badge of honor for our dedication, it isn't a sign of strength. It's actually the fastest road to a total collapse. So you gotta wonder, right? Why do some really, really brilliant students seem to just thrive, while others, who are just as smart, completely burn out? And look, it's not about being more intelligent. It's definitely not about having more willpower. The difference? It all comes down to strategy. And that default strategy of just working harder, well, it's totally broken. Okay, so to really get this, we have to pull back the curtain on what burnout actually is. It's way more than just feeling tired. And maybe the best way to do that is to look at the story of a medical student. We're going to call him Ahmed. So Ahmed, this guy is basically the student everyone else looks up to. He's brilliant, always at the top of his class. His notes? Oh man, they're perfect, color-coded, the whole shebang. He hasn't taken a real day off in, 4 months? He is the poster child for the model student. But here's the catch. 3 weeks before his exam, he just crashes. Totally hits a wall. Can't focus, can't remember anything. He fails. And not because he wasn't smart enough, but because he just completely ran out of gas. And see, that's because burnout isn't just about being tired. It's a real clinical state of chronic stress. And it has these 3 key parts. 1, that deep emotional exhaustion, we all know. 2, you start to feel this detachment from everything. And 3, this really nasty feeling that no matter what you do, it's just never, ever good enough. And for people who are used to achieving things, that third one, that feeling of not being good enough, that's the real trap. Why? Because what's your first instinct when you feel like you're failing? You work harder. It's literally like trying to put out a fire with gasoline. You're just feeding the very flames that are burning you out. So what's really going on under the surface? Here's the hidden problem. Your identity gets completely fused with your performance. It's not just that you do well, it's that you are your grade. A bad score doesn't just feel like a setback, it feels like a fundamental flaw in you as a person. And the only way out of that trap is to make a really big shift in your mindset. You have to start telling yourself this: you are not your percentile score. You are a person who is learning medicine. Separating who you are from how you perform, that's your shield. It's more powerful than any study hack you could ever learn. All right, so if working harder is off the table, what's the alternative? Well, it all starts with completely changing how you think about rest. Recovery isn't laziness. It's not a luxury. It's a physiological necessity. It is a non-negotiable part of performing at a high level. I mean, let's just take sleep, for example. It's always the first thing we sacrifice, right? You cut your sleep from 7 hours to 5, just to squeeze in 2 more hours of studying. But here's what's actually happening in your brain. You are literally erasing what you just learned. During deep sleep, your brain is busy consolidating memories, taking what you studied and locking it into long-term storage. If you cut that short, you're pretty much just undoing all that hard work. It's not about being tough, it's just neuroscience. And hey, let's go back to Ahmed for a second. The second time he took that exam, he tried something totally different. He actually studied less, about 12 hours a day instead of 14 plus, but he slept more. He got a solid 7 hours a night. The result? He didn't just pass. His score went up by 22 marks. Think about that. Same guy, same brain, same books. The only thing that changed was that he finally prioritized recovery. Now, this doesn't mean all stress is bad. I think we kind of get that wrong. There's this thing called eustress. That's the good kind of stress. It's that pressure that helps you focus, that gets you motivated and in the zone before a big deadline. So the problem isn't stress itself. The real enemy is chronic, relentless, unmanaged stress. I love this analogy. Think of stress like a pressure cooker. When you manage it well, it cooks the food way faster. It's efficient. But if you leave it on the stove with no release valve, it's going to explode. Your recovery, your breaks, that's your release valve. It could be as simple as going for a 20-minute walk or just calling a friend who has nothing to do with medicine. And yeah, speaking of friends, your social circle is a huge deal. It's either going to be medicine or it's going to be poison. Seriously, if everyone you hang out with is just constantly comparing grades, one-upping each other on how little they slept, that is toxic. That kind of comparison culture is everywhere. And man, it fuels burnout like nothing else. Okay, so we've taken a deep dive into the problem. Now let's talk about what you can actually do about it, like starting today. Here's a super practical 4-step action plan. Okay, first things first, set a hard stop time. Pick a time every night, say 10 p.m. And when that clock hits, the books are closed. Period. No exceptions. Second, schedule real breaks. Put them in your calendar like they're a class. Go do something that has nothing to do with medicine. Third, track your wins. This is a big one. Before you go to sleep, just write down 3 things that went well with your studying that day. It sounds small, but it retrains your brain to see progress instead of just seeing what's left to do. And finally, number 4, if you're already feeling that burnout, ask for help. Seriously. And that last one is so important because there's a clock ticking. If you catch burnout early, you can recover in a few weeks. But if you ignore it, if you just tell yourself to push through for months on end, recovery can take a year, maybe even longer. The price you pay for waiting is just massive. So look, all of this advice is really practical for you as an individual, but it also kind of brings up a much bigger, more uncomfortable question about the entire culture that creates this mess in the first place. Think about it. We have all this scientific proof that rest and recovery literally improve performance. So here's the final question. Why does the culture in medicine, and so many other high-achieving fields, treat taking a break like it's some kind of character flaw? Why is there this dangerous myth that you have to suffer to succeed? That's the real thing we need to start questioning.